Esport is one of the things that Marvel was trying to like really break through as of the, making esport for Marvel a little bit um competitive at this point. I mean, it is competitive, but they're really trying to push the button with Marvel esport. But we have to wait and see because everything is just fresh at this moment. They're literally testing out everything, Chad. So I wouldn't really be so demanding of wanting esports to be great and compare it to Overwatch. But it's just something that we just got to really give it time. It's building up, but we have to give it time before they start to cook with esport. But to this whole point about matchmaking, right? Chat, I just wanted to say this about esport. I mean, not esport, but the matchmaking. I have a theory, and this theory is just my personal opinion. I don't want to say that this is what everyone's thinking, but this is just what I am. All right. So with matchmaking, you're being put together with people in the same rank or someone below, one rank below or one rank below, or higher than you, right? Or three ranks higher. And in those matches, you expecting everyone to be at least on the same, mindset as you, if that makes. So you want people to be right here where you at, matching what you do. What if the theory is, in my personal theory, what if the people that you're teaming up with, that you lost with, were right here with you, but your play style and their play style weren't matching? What if? Because my only theory to how matchmaking is working at this moment is there's a couple of factors. I think you are being put in matches where you have the team, the people you're playing with are probably they're just coming off a win streak, right? And you just got off your win streak. And so when you're being put together with this simple of people who are just on a win streak just like you, and y'all happen to lose, what if the theory was that everyone in that group, everyone on your team are probably not on your skill level, not the skill level, but play style level. Their skill matches, but their play style is a little bit different. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Do you agree with that theory? Because just want to know. Because the matches that you being thrown into, and where you just got off a 3-1 streak, right? You're on a 3-1 streak moving, and then you get thrown in a match where you see the ranks a little bit different. Let's say you're in gold 1, right? And you see someone in silver 1, or you see someone in plat 3 or whatever. You see them on your team. Now, in your mind, you're looking at the silver 1 as a player that's still in development, right? The player that's in plat 3, you think that they are probably skilled enough that they're just in plat 3. Now, we all know that they're dual, so we're already aware of that. But we're thinking, since they're dual, they're probably either getting carried or they're either just playing together and they're just pretty good with one person smurfing or something, right? But when you check their history after losing, you realize they was on a 3-game winning streak just like you. Now, this may varies. I'm not saying this is a 100% solid, information or source to say that this, you're that whatever, because it varies, all right? But when you're playing with a team that is a little bit conservative, whereas you are mostly aggressive, and their skill level is there, but they're not on your level of skill level. What would you say that being the reason why you're losing matches is because the matchmaking is putting you together with people that's pretty good, but your play style compared to their play style is a little bit different. Because that's my only theory. Now, my other theory is not my only theory. I said only theory. Scratch that. My other theory is that you're being put together with players that only play a certain role, and that the only role that they're mostly comfortable playing in, they have to fill in a role that they're not comfortable in. Does that make sense? So let's say that in your matches you got let's say 5 players on your team are support or strategists or strategists or however you want to say it. Support. To dumb it down a little bit. To dumb it down. That's a double. Dumb it down. Jesus. To dumb it down, you saying support. So 4 5 players on your team are pretty much support players. Or 5 they're support players in general. So that's all they know is play support. So now they have to all fill a role that they're not comfortable in. And you're the only player that plays DPS or Vanguard. So now you're in a match against a team that's the opposite team that knows their roles or those who are really good at filling in compared to your team where they don't know how to fill. Would you agree with that theory? Like, let's say you don't agree with the first theory I threw out there. Because the first theory I put out there may not make sense or it's just weird. But let's say the second theory right here. That you're being put in to matches where most of your players that you're playing with and teammates are coming from a game where there was mostly support players. And so the matchmaking system is putting you together because these individuals happen to have stats that matches yours, but the problem is they're support players. And so you're just being put together with players that are support. Not saying like all the teammates are support players, but let's just assume they are. And let's even assume that there's only 3 of those players that are support players. All right? There's 2 DPS. It's 3 DPS, but 1 doesn't know how to tank. There's 2 DPS, 1 doesn't know how to tank. So pretty much you're looking at the match as catering to the team that's pretty much well versed in every role on the opposite team. Whereas your team is just a hot ass mess. So you are just playing with a bunch of Joker cards, right? Like pretty much Jokers. So you're playing with a bunch of Jokers, and you don't have a ace up your sleeve. There's a teammate that's an ace that can play all roles, that can really dominate on all roles. So you just got a bunch of Jokers, and you just pretty much got a 2 somewhere, and you're trying to figure out what is going on because you get into the match and y'all just getting rolled on. And then all of a sudden, you see your teammates, they swap the triple support to 4 support. And that just gives you the indication that they're defeated because they're either not suited for the roles that they're not comfortable, and they were trying to swap 2 support with another support, and that other support didn't want to go to a different role. So pretty much we're looking at a situation where the majority of your team is only a one-trick team. So now you're just here in La La Land losing your mind because none of your players can play DPS, none of them can play tank, none of them can even support. But you got most of these support players who are trying to keep everyone up, but they realize that the players that you're trying to keep up is nowhere near the role that they should be playing. So it's literally like a disaster. So you're just sitting here hoping that someone in your team pop off. But let's just say you're popping off, but everyone else is not. So that means something is happening with the matchmaking. The third theory is, player fatigue. Like players are really regressing. That's my third theory. Is that players are regressing so bad that they got burnt out. So they're pretty much burnt out on this game. What I mean by that is that they've been playing ranked so much that they never took a break. And that every season they just put in countless hours. And now we're at the 8th, or not 8th, but the 7.5 season, and then during their 6.0 to 6.5, you start to see a little bit of regression in their approach to the game. And that every time that they go out there to try to battle, they just instantly get knocked. And they start to really pretty much tap out, And so you start to see that tap out within how they're playing, how they're approaching the opposite team as of what they're throwing at them, and them not really sure how to counter things. So you're seeing a lot of confusion, right? So you're now seeing that, and now you're thinking to yourself that this player that you just noticed that has a level 100 account and you check their history, they happen to be peak one above, but now they're in GM, and it's almost sad because it's like how like I mean you could say that they probably didn't play on that account. Let's you could say that we can literally throw in these caveats to this argument to say this and that and that, but let's just take out the caveats and I just really focus that throughout their years of playing this game, not years, but throughout the seasons playing this game, they were experiencing a bit of fatigue and boredom because at times you will get bored of this game, especially when you put in so many hours in this game. You will experience boredom, you will experience burnouts quickly, and you will experience the fatigue kicking in your skill ability as of your game sense and everything. So you start to experience that. It's like that desire starts to fade away a little. So you see that in your teammates when you're playing. Like the teammates are pretty good, but you start to see them drop because they either fatigue or they're bored. Because when a player's bored, they're just going to do whatever they want. And it's just completely almost to the state of mind of throwing a match. Whereas a player that's fatigued, you can literally see that their whole emotions is literally just showing how exhausted they are, and their strategies is not working. So they're just pretty much throwing everything in the air to see which one, see if they can literally figure out what's going to really like hit directly. So it's not really hitting. So my theory about what's happening as of this matchmaking and the players in rivals at this moment, those are just my 3 theories. I just think that there is two factors into this argument that I can really say, even though I said factors early on. This happened fast, but let's just say that in the factors of this, we're looking at player fatigue, and we're looking at development. So we're looking at underdeveloped players who are still trying to really grasp everything, right? And then we're looking at players that is fully developed but just experiencing fatigue because when you play this game countless hours, when you are at the point where you're bored because literally you did everything start from the start of the season to where we are right now, you just bored. It's like you're now experiencing boredom because it's just. So that's pretty much like being burnt out, if that makes sense. So what I'm really saying in this argument, as a gamer, we all gamers, right? We all recognize when our minds or either our bodies are telling us something. And when we're playing the game, based on how many hours we play this, based on how many times we experience certain things in the game, we are realizing that there's something happening, right? Whereas you're getting either new teammates that are just moving up because they were stuck in one rank and managed to figure themselves to climb up. And then we got players who are just bored. So we're now coming to the grips to understanding that there is a bit of those factors in play. But also when it comes to matchmaking, it's more of, where you are compared to where everybody else is. If everyone else is on your team coming from a win streak and they're not even a dual players, they happen to be solo players and they just put you together with other solo players and they all are coming off a win streak, or they just had high stats in those matches, then the matchmaking is only putting you together with players that they think will work for you. And the issue is the system doesn't know the play style. It doesn't, because someone can literally be anything. So it doesn't really know the play style that identifies with yours, that really matches with your energy. So when you're joining a team and you're blaming your team, but when you go back to their history, you realize that their stats were high, but in this particular match, it was low. What was the issue? It could be that they don't fit your style of play, if that makes sense. So if they don't fit your style of play, and then the couple of matches you were winning, and you realize while you was winning, these teammates were fitting your style of play, then it just go to show you that winning on this game isn't about, high stats and all that. It's not about that. It's just based on synergy and those who fit your play style. And even if someone fits your play style and you still lose, you have to look at it and say to yourself, well, they fit my play style, but the stats says, the stats are kind of low. So what could have been an issue? It could be either factor of fatigue, or they're just getting overwhelmed with a lot of data and information in the match, or the other team just happens to have a better comp. So it's just, that's the things you have to really look at. It's just how your play style, who you're picking, everything that matters to how this game's going to go. Now, we don't know what the player behavior is going to come when it comes to coming into your team, how they're going to play in your as a factor into your game. Because some people could be weird and goofy and still play good. That's the crazy. But even if you're serious and then you have serious players, they literally are just going to crash out because they're expecting you to be on the same level as them, whereas you expecting them to be on the same level as you. So your arguments is just the same, but it's just your energy's there, your arguments are the same. It's just that you're just pointing fingers at each other. So there's a lot of factors. But I mean, to be real, I think, like I said, I think it just comes down to, patience at this moment. It's like a lot of players are impatient. They want to rush to get to that rank. So I think it comes down to that too, because that could be the major factor in my opinion, or theory. Like my major theory in this game is like there's a lot of impatient players, so they're expecting instant gratification of just getting to the rank. They think that it should be easy for them, whereas it should be on the pace of where they are as of this, developing and win this game. So when players are not developed on this game, they want everything to be rushed. They don't want it to be just a way of just pasting so that they can really get a grasp of this game. They want it to be rushed so they can hit that rank and hit that next rank and hit that next rank, so that they believe that they're great. Like that dopamine of just feeling like, man, I'm better than, I'm going to keep winning because I'm doing great. But the next match tells you where you are. The following match really tells you where you are. So when you're losing 4 games in a row, it's literally indicating where you are. Because you're losing those 4 games, and and those teams are just either countering your every move or pretty much have a built-up synergy within each other. It's just not going to be good enough for you to feel like you can take on that team, especially if you're being carried and you're not fully developed. You're not fully developed. Fully developed to me, here's it. No one's ever going to be fully developed on this game. You just have to understand that every match is just better understanding, better position, in pretty much playing to the objective. So no one's not going to be perfect on this game. Some of the great players on this game lose. So there's no perfection. It's just you just develop. So if you are losing match, it just means you still have time to improve, to develop, so that you can, get more familiar with the game and get a little bit better. But those are my theories earlier on what I just talked about. Those are just my theories. I'm not saying that this is 100%, because I just wanted to say this is just my opinion. This is me venting. This is me just sharing my thoughts. I'm 100% wrong. I'm 100% wrong. I can literally say that. But I'm just sharing my thoughts. I don't want people to really think that this is actually the issue. Like, it could be the issue, but I'm not going to say it 100%. Like I said, I could be 100% wrong, or I could be 50-50 wrong, or I could be 50% right. I don't know. But there's certain factors that's in play in this game that is really showing that as seasons come and go, as well as the devs keep making changes as of the balances in this game, we can literally say that there is still those underdeveloped players, whereas there are developed players who just feeling burnt out or experiencing fatigue. So Literally, that's just what I'm saying. I'm not really saying that every player is that, but I'm just saying this is what I'm coming to sense to understanding. But I could be wrong. I could literally be wrong. I literally could be wrong. But I just do think that when it comes to winning and losing, there has to be something that is causing your teammates to feel overwhelmed in matches. It has to be something. We can't, like, we can literally say they're trash, they're garbage, they don't know what they're doing, they're playing a player they're not comfortable with. But if they're 5 or 6, 10 matches before you were pretty good and their numbers were really showing that they're really good, then there has to be something going on. Or they just got beat by a better team, you know? Because nobody's not going to go undefeated for so long. You're going to bound to lose matches after having a hot streak. So, but yeah, that's just my thought, Jazz. I could be everywhere. I'm just rambling on pretty much. Just want to put that out. But yeah.